This is a classic bicycle saddlebag made by Carradice in England. And this is a modern saddlebag made by Swift Industries in Seattle. This is another modern interpretation by Jack Supply Company. And one of my favorites, the Goldback by Bags by Bird. In this video, I'm going to address a comment that pops up frequently in different forms. And basically, when people see a new iteration of an old design, some people tend to say, well, this is just that, as if there's no other difference. We're going to do a deeper dive and see if all these modern saddlebags are just Carradice bags, and also see where they're different and possibly better. If there is one thing I want to communicate, it's that yes, there are modern iterations of older things, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes they tweak the design, change the materials, add functionality, and that's stuff that we should embrace. Basically, think of this as the bag version of every gravel bike is just an 80s mountain bike. Let's look at a tried and true classic. I believe this is the Nelson Long Flap by Carradice. It's made out of this beautiful olive green canvas duck material. Hardware is leather straps and buckles. Very classic design. It does pop open, and it does have a long flap that can extend. In terms of the interior, it's pretty plain. There is a drawstring closure, and you'll note that there is a wooden dowel. If you've ever used a Carradice, you know that they can be a little tricky attaching them and removing them from a saddle because you have to do it from the inside. Basically, you have to open up the bag, take a leather strap, pull it out here, wrap it around your saddle rail, weave it right through, and then buckle it up in the inside. It's not too bad when the bag is empty and you can take your leisure, but if it's full and you have to get the bag off because you have to catch a train or something, it can be a little stressful. Another thing you'll notice about the Carradice is that it doesn't really have a stiffener. For its shape, it relies primarily on the canvas cotton duck fabric, which when you does provide a little bit more shape than this well-worn one, but there is a tendency for it to get a little floopy floppy, if you know what I mean. On the back, you'll see it has a third attachment point. Typically, there is a third leather strap that you would use to attach to a seat post, or if you run it on the front on your head tube. So you can see I've replaced it with a belay strap because I think I misplaced the original leather strap. Other nice features about this bag is that it has D-loops here so you can lash things on to the back. It's also got D-loops here so you can affix a shoulder strap. Pretty classic design, tried and true. Could it be improved upon? Are these modern takes just ripoffs, or do they actually add added value to this design? I'm going to look at 3 different newish style saddlebags and compare it to the older Carradice. So first off, we're going to look at the Swift Zeitgeist. So Swift, within the last decade, has really been pushing the design of the saddlebag, more so than like I think other bag makers out there. And they've definitely inspired later iterations, interpretations of the saddlebag. First thing we'll note is that there is a difference in material. I believe this is X-Pack, so a little bit lighter than cotton duck, a little bit more of a technical fabric. Another thing you'll notice is that this has updated hardware. This has plastic buckles, which, while not as classy as the Carradice, I do have to say are a little bit quicker to use, a little bit more adjustable on the fly than just a little leather strap and buckle. So much easier to open and close. You just push it in and it locks in, and then you push these and it opens it up. No needing to thread out the leather tongue. So you'll see, just like the Carradice, it also has side pockets that also have updated hardware. So already we can see there are some advantages to using newer materials. I'd say these buckles are definitely a lot quicker to open and close, and they also offer more adjustability, more fine tuning than holes in a leather strap. On the interior, you can also see it's similar but also different. It has a nice contrasting interior, which makes it a lot easier to find small items. There's also the addition of this other buckle. This kind of keeps the bag together. You can also use it to lash bigger loads down in here. Of course, this also has a cinching apron. If you're paying attention, one of the things you will notice that is missing is that wooden dowel that so classically defines the Carradice saddlebag. This is where I completely embrace new iterations of old things, because I think this is truly an improvement. As you can see, the dowel is gone. It's replaced with this stiff like plastic rectangular baton. I believe that's what they call it. And it's completely on the exterior of the bag. So instead of getting into the bag and having to thread it around your handlebar or your saddle and then looping it back and all that rigmarole. You can do it all from the outside. You just simply loop things in and then cinch it down with these belay straps. While small, this is a huge time saver, especially if you're in a rush, especially if the bag is already full. If you move your bags from bike to bike, this feature alone, I think, is 100% worth it. Also see here, whereas the Carradice had like a short leather strap, they're using cordage. Works a lot better, especially if you're putting this on the front of your bike and have to get it through those tight spaces around your head tube. So again, another big improvement. And another thing you'll notice is that the bag has a stiffener. So it generally holds its shape a lot better than the Carradice. If you put this on a rack, it's less likely to kind of droop over the edge and look all sad and lumpy. So that is the Swift Zeitgeist. Is it similar to the Carradice? Sure. Is it the same? I don't think it's the same thing. That's like saying, you know, the Tesla is just a Model T, but uses electricity. You can begin to see how absurd some of these comments are. This is the Jack Supply bag, and again, you can see this one just holds its shape so well when compared to the Carradice, and I think even the Zeitgeist. Whatever stiffener they use, and this squared off bottom, boxy and good, and doesn't get all floopy flappy in the wrong way. And similar to the Swift, it does away with the interior dowel. Instead, it has its own version of the stiffener rod, and you loop this to your bag on this outside strap. And lastly, the Bags by Bird Goldback, which I love when I'm going bike touring or bike packing. Similar color to the Carradice, but again, this kind of nice canvas X-Pack material, which feels both rugged and technical at the same time. Again, it's got modern buckles for quick on and off. One nice feature is on this end of the buckle, these are actually split, so you can move these up and down. Really fine-tune the amount of tension you want holding your gear down. And this bag goes actually a step further. It has a second exterior dowel, and this is so that if you put it on the front, it prevents the bag from wrapping around your head tube, or if you put it on a rack, it again prevents that dreaded bag droop. So what's the point I'm trying to make here? Yes, Carradice is definitely a classic design. It uses classic materials, and if you want that duck canvas feel and those leather buckles, then definitely go Carradice. That said, just because it was first doesn't mean it's necessarily the best. And I, for one, welcome new and better iterations of older things. Bags that use modern fabrics that tend to be lighter, with buckles that tend to be easier to use, with external mounting systems that are much easier to get on and off your bike. Not to mention the variety of colors all these new custom bag makers can make. Carradice will definitely be the bag for the traditionalist, for people that just want that look. They're never gonna make a pink and teal and purple bag, but hey, you can do that with these newer bag makers. So are they similar? Yes, they are similar. Similar functionality and end use. Are they the same as in identical? No. Some of these upgrades may not be worth it for you, in which case, you know, definitely stick with your Carradice. And if you're in that camp, that's completely fine, but I'd urge you to not be dismissive of the new batch of bag makers out there. This whole video can apply to more than just bags, bikes, whatever other gear. It's okay to like your traditional thing, but I'd also try to keep an open mind to see what's happening and how people are pushing the design of this activity that we love. So hopefully you found this video helpful or at least entertaining. If you like this content, please check out our merch shop, buy some stickers, a patch, some fine art prints. I think I'm the only bike YouTuber that's selling art prints. It's literally what keeps the lights on and the content coming, since we're not sponsored by any big bike brand. As always, keep the supple side down.